All right, so here is kind of my quick partial review of Wave 9. This is not a full review of Wave 9. Of course, we know we've got the Gold Wonder Woman and the Metallic Painted Aquaman coming out, as well as the JSA 3-pack. I do not have those figures. The guys over at justbsing.com or justbsing YouTube channel, they will have all the figures, and we'll review them later this week. Love them. Please subscribe to their channel. But here's just kind of my quick review of these 4 figures that were offered as pre-order from McFarlane just a few months ago. I was excited to see this wave, and there are some pluses that we'll talk about, as well as a couple drawbacks. First, we finally get a new body buck for Superman. He is better proportioned than the original. As you remember, probably from the original version that we had in McFarlane Wave 1, Superman, legs were too close together. Proportion, the shoulders just sat really high compared to the overall body, and this one corrects all that. Have sort of the nice light blue look here, as well as a different head. And I know some people have complained about the Man of Steel head with the smile, and honestly, I like it. I don't think it's a problem. He's kind of got the grin along with the scowling eyebrows at the same time, which is kind of a nice look for the Man of Steel. So I don't have a problem with it, nor do I have a problem with the S. I saw Toy Otter's comment recently, and I kind of agree. I wish they would have gone for a little bit more pronounced S, but this old school S is fine. Again, we get the nice sort of light blue. The one thing you'll notice is he does have the nice sort of George Hamilton-esque, for those of you who are of that age, George Hamilton-esque tan and teeth. So again, we talked about the teeth earlier, but the tan is pretty pronounced for Superman, and that does show off the pearly whites. So kind of a funny thing there with just the coloring this time. We do see that same thing on the Riddler as well. We'll talk about that later. I do like the cape better this time. I know these aren't people's favorites, but I do like the cape overall. Much better texture than the previous capes. Again, pure fabric, and we do have the S in the back, which makes it very nice. And overall, I love the aesthetic of this figure. It takes us back to the old school Superman, and just a very good representation overall. Batman, this is a repaint of the Dark Knight Detective Batman, and love the black here and the black. The black cape. I'll probably replace that at some point with one of the Cape Master capes that I have. But overall, a very nice black and gray aesthetic of Batman. Bizarro. We finally get a Bizarro figure. It's been years. We've wanted a Bizarro figure forever. And it's funny because there have been so many iterations of Bizarro that were in kind of the darker costume that, I even forgot that he had the lighter blue costume. But back in the day, Super Friends and before, he did have the light blue costume. And so they've recreated it nicely here. And I know that some people have said, hey, is the S backwards? Yes, it is. And this, the Bizarro #1 necklace is removable. And as you can see, he does have a smaller, shorter cape. He does have the reverse S in the back of the cape. So nice touch, McFarlane. Appreciate that little detail. He has kind of the Bucky Beaver cheeks for whatever reason. And I know there was a little bit of that in the comics back in the old days. So we do get finally a decent representation of Bizarro. And then finally we get the Riddler, and the Riddler decked out in his classic costume. I know some people have said, hey, can't we get the animated version of this? And if you can see the last few waves of McFarlane, what they're really shooting for outside of the Batman and Superman variants, they're really shooting for more of the classic stuff. So that's why we're getting more Legion of Doom-esque things. And this is definitely the Riddler costume that lasted him all the way up through the end of the 80s before it got, replaced by other things, including the one in Batman the Animated Series. So we're getting this, also a nice homage to the original Super Amigos Riddler figure that was originally created off of Hal Jordan. And you can see the Hal Jordan head is recreated nicely here. And I love the amount of question marks on this figure. And you can see, you flip him around, he also has question marks on the back. So he's got a plethora of Riddler question marks. Nice Riddler color scheme as well. If I had to look at drawbacks from this line, again, it is the scaling, and we're going to see it here pretty prominently. And I've been so excited to see that, for the most part, they've corrected a lot of the scaling issues in the last wave. Metamorpho was an outlier. They did a really good job with Guy Gardner and Booster Gold, though. This one, scaling is way off. Superman is supposed to be 6'3", Batman is supposed to be 6'2", 6'2", and here it is there's just a massive proportion difference. So one of the things I really look forward to with this new wave was getting a more proportioned Superman. This creates a bit of a problem for McFarlane. So, if we got the proportions right, those arms could be used with other characters. So now we're forced to rely on older sculpts again because we didn't get the proportions right. And for anyone from McFarlane listening, again, I'm grateful for all the work that you do. I love this line to death. And honestly, if you need help creating a conversion chart in Excel, I'm happy to build one that will convert, relative height in feet and inches, or whatever you want to use in the metric system, and convert it into millimeters, which I know it's how figures are produced. I'm happy to do that. I know the millimeters in the metric system are also metric, but I get it. I'm happy to do that for you. I'll do it free of charge. I would absolutely love to do that. I'll even include differences with like hair and masks and that sort of thing, so we get the correct proportion. Happy to do that for you, because that is something that we just can't miss on with this line. I've heard some things. The line might be struggling. It might not be. I hope it's successful. We've got to be able to hit it right down the middle with every figure we get out the door. So there's no reason that people won't buy the figure. And I get it. I'm probably one of the outliers that will complain about scale. I know a lot of people, even in my comments about this review tonight, don't complain about that, but I guarantee you there are a subset of people that will not buy it because the scale is just incorrect. Let's get that right, not shoot ourselves in the foot. Let's get that right off the bat. Same problem with these two. So again, your Bizarro figure is way out of scale. And again, relative height would say he should be a lot shorter than he is, using the same Superman body buck. Same problem we have with using the old sort of Nightwing. I know it's the Nightwing body buck, the Flash body buck potentially, and I can't tell where the arms come from. It might be from, it might still be from Hal Jordan, maybe modified without the ring. But the issue we have here is that, again, this figure, Riddler is supposed to be 6 foot tall, Batman is 6'2", way out of scale when you put them next to each other. He's way taller. I get it. This is an inexpensive line. It is a great price point. I do appreciate the improvements that we're making. Let's try to get the scale right. And overall, I'm pleased these figures were made. I love what McFarlane's trying to do. And again, please don't take this as me hating on McFarlane. I've been very supportive of what they're trying to do. I love that they're putting effort toward the Super Powers line. And even if it is struggling, I love that they're trying to put their best foot forward. This is another way to help, though. Don't ignore the correct scale. And I get it. You've got to monetize the old molds. But even this figure, for instance, not using the Hal Jordan body is somewhat of a mystery. You could always put another version of this body with another figure later on, but get the Super Amigos version correct with just a straight repaint of the Hal Jordan figure that came out earlier the year, toward the end of last year. That's an easy win. I'm excited to see what happens. I actually do like the Aquaman figure quite a bit. Like what I see from the metallic version, even though, again, out of scale, too tall. But I like the color scheme. I'm excited that we finally get a lasso with Wonder Woman. And I'm excited to kind of see the JSA figures, even though I know they're using some of the body bucks that put them out of scale, but like what I'm seeing there. So love what we're seeing. Love that we still get the vehicles that come along with this wave. It'll also come along later. And happy to support the line. So go out there, get these figures, keep supporting. McFarlane will give us what we want as we keep moving forward. And hey, feel free to leave your comments below and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.